Right now, let's get right out to Tricia. She is in Tempe for us this morning. Tricia, the situation has been changing all morning long where you are as well at Rural and Broadway there.
Yep, Tempe police shut down this area. In fact, I think photographer Jay McSpadden and I are actually stuck. And you can see the water level up here just continues to rise. It's definitely not receding from earlier. It's just completely about a foot deep in some areas, actually. So you can see Tempe police blocking off the westbound direction, eastbound direction, and just turning traffic around. So anybody that's in this parking lot right here isn't going to be able to go anywhere until it drains off and Tempe police opens up the road. So we're hearing some sirens in the area, some fender benders. Luckily, it doesn't look like any cars right here that took a chance earlier. They did get through the area, but thankfully they did shut this area down, and we're not surprised because earlier it looked like one lane looked better than the other one, and then the eastbound direction really got jam-packed with the brake lights and the water just continuing to rise up. So in the westbound direction, it's shut down, and that's at Terrace Road, and then Broadway and Rural in the other direction where photographer Jay McSpadden is shooting video right there. So you can see it's hard to tell where the sidewalk and the street meet because the water is at the same level. It's actually above the median right there. It looks like a river, like Jimmy Q said, a lake in this area because it's just having a hard time draining off. So the rain is not letting up. It's continuing to come down, and we are soaking wet. We have all of our rain gear on, but it's saturated, as you can see. So we will continue to follow everything going on out here, but avoid this area. So Broadway and Rural, and then Terrace, and we can even see some flashing lights. Tempe police, another light down. So probably a lot of road closures expanding from where we are right here.
Yeah, we will add that to the list of growing road closures this morning. Now we're going to pop over to the East Valley, where we have some good and some bad news. On the 60, we have a new crash here. It's heading eastbound this morning. It's happening at Priest, and it's blocking the HOV lane. Heading the opposite direction, though, heading westbound, we did have the road closed on the 60 at Priest. It's back open, but it's already causing trouble because people are already crashing into each other. On the 60 at Mill, we had another closure here. This was closed for quite some time this morning. That just reopened. However, we're going 25 miles per hour at the most. We also just had someone tweet me, said that their husband was on the 60 right near Loop 101 and he was forced off. Well, it doesn't say that it's closed, and I did take a live look there to double check, and it does look like cars are getting through, but just expect that you may run into a closure, something that might just pop up. Officers who are out there and think that the road isn't safe, and they might take you off. Once you are taken off, Broadway is the road that I took in this morning. We're going to show you there live that it's already pretty much flooded out right now. We're backed up now to the 60 at Val Vista, and this morning that was closed as well, but it just reopened, so that's some good news for our drivers too. The 202 Santan at Loop 101. We're extremely slow. We're backed up because they did have this road closed. They have reopened it, but it's still extremely slow and extremely wet. Just remember, as you are heading out this morning on our highways, they're designed to look like an arch. So the runoff goes to the right and to the left. Those center lanes are going to be the driest. They're not perfect because pretty much all lanes are going to be affected, but center lanes are going to be the driest for our drivers. So if you do have to go, and I hope you don't, but if you do, then you want to take those center lanes. We got a crash here on the 202 Santan. This is right near Power, and this is also going to be partially blocking our lanes. So, a good news from ADOT. No closures on the 202 Red Mountain. We had some closures on 202 Santan, but it does look like they opened things back up at Loop 101. But you can see that we're still backed up pretty much all the way to Stapley, Faye. So no closures on the 202 Red Mountain, no closures on Loop 101. Those are good news, but that's where we're seeing a lot of those crashes, Faye. So even though those roads are open, we still need to go slow, and we still need to be very vigilant on the roads.
Yeah, and keep in mind that ADOT did put the word out earlier this morning to please try and postpone your commute, if at all possible. All right, let's get to Jimmy real quick and find out what we are in store for.
We're sending tweets out right now on at James Quinones if you want to know what the radar looks like if you have to get out. But what we're saying is stay at home unless you have to get out. At least wait another hour or so. The flood advisory, we have a flood warning in effect. That's going to go at least for till 6:30. Could get extended. We're hearing sirens outside. There's a lot of road closures. If it's not in your neighborhood, I can pretty much say it's going to be somewhere around the valley. It's all over the place. And a lot of the rescue workers, there's probably not enough of them to get to every area. There's going to be washes that are going to be flooded, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of rainfall still coming down across some parts, especially up towards the north. If you're just to the south of Flagstaff, if you're along the 17, or you know folks that are going to be heading there, tell them to stay home. Here is what the current radar looks like. This rain's still not done with yet. We are under a flood warning, a flash flood warning, meaning flooding is happening as we speak all over the valley, not just pockets from Cave Creek down towards Phoenix. And if your neighborhood's looking good like mine was, it was awesome until I went about 3 blocks, got stuck in water, car started stalling out, had to get it off the side of the road. So you just want to stay at home, and also you don't want to be just stuck sitting in traffic for hours. The amount of rainfall that we've had, the best way to put it, it's epic. Scottsdale, over 2 inches of rain. The same for Tempe, almost 3. Paradise Valley, 3.35 inches of rain. This was all in a couple of hours, right after midnight. 2 o'clock in the morning is when we started to see rain coming in. Glendale, 2.36 inches. This is just a tremendous amount. Our desert soil cannot hold this type of rain. If this rain happened in Atlanta, there would be flooding. It doesn't matter where. Anything over 2 inches of rain, but especially here in the valley where our soil is so dry. A live look outside. We have cloudy skies and the sun just starting to peak up right now. This is out in the Superstition Mountains. More clouds, more rainfall. Arizona radar. Showers, this is what happened last night. The rain started coming in. The bulk of it came in right along the south and also to the west of us. These storms created outflow boundaries, meaning wind coming in out of these storms from different directions. When they collide, it's like the wake of 2 boats. The big waves hit and it creates more thunderstorms, and that's what enhanced the moisture. But it was already in place. We'd been tracking this all weekend long. But at 3:30 in the morning, we had storm activity, heavy rain. It was moving slow, 5-10 miles an hour across the valley from Cave Creek down to downtown. Now, as we continue on the progression here, we saw more rainfall in right along Buckeye. Still some storms just coming out of Buckeye in towards Avondale, Cave Creek. I'm getting more tweets coming in from folks saying my backyard's flooding, roofs are having problems on top of that, and the washes are going to be running out of the canals, out of areas coming out of Piestewa Peak, Camelback, Turn around, don't drown. That's the #1 rule. You don't want to get stuck. It only takes is a foot of water and your car can stall out. So we have flash flood watches. That's going to go possibly until tonight. So if you're thinking about going to the Cardinals game, you might want to just stay tuned. We're going to keep you posted on how rough it's going to be. The heavy stuff has hit. We have flooded roads this morning. Stay at home unless you're an emergency personnel or you have to get home, at least for the next couple of hours. We're going to be on the air here. We're going to let you know when these roads start opening up. Emma has some great reports. She says it's some of the mass transit's looking good. The buses and the light rail seem to be running good. So that's at least optimistic. But if there's iffy and you have to drive, that's when I would say stay home, maybe call your boss. I'm going to come in a little bit later, let the traffic dissipate, let the water start to go down. Sky Harbor received 2.11 inches of rain. That is a record. Main threat of weather today will be flooding. For the valley, we have a 7 for the monsoon meter, an 8 for northern Arizona. Follow us on Facebook. We want to know what's happening in your neighborhood. Please take the pictures, and we also want the cross streets too, as long as it's safe. Watch out for lightning out there. We're also getting some lightning strikes too. Follow me at James Quinones, where I'm going to be sending out forecasts all day long, watches and warnings. And there's another shot at Camelback Mountain, which would be Camelback Mountain this time of day. Today, heavy rain possible early on this morning. Temperatures in the 70s and the 80s. Scattered storms throughout the rest of the day, and still the potential for localized flooding on and off throughout the day. How about the 3-day outlook? Folks, heavy rain today. Tomorrow, the chance of scattered storms, and still a chance of storms. We're not going to start to clear until maybe late Thursday on into Friday.
Another huge dust storm hit the valley tonight, and the monsoon isn't done with us yet. Good evening. I'm Stacia Ken. You probably saw that massive haboob outside your house. Take a look at this time lapse of the storm moving in. The dust storm developed pretty quickly in the afternoon. One system started on I-10. It merged with another coming from Santan Valley and created this monster right here. Rain, wind, and dark skies filled the area. Take a look at this video. The dust storm hitting a soccer field. The Grand Canyon University soccer game was delayed. A thunderstorm caused about 1,200 people to lose power in the Santan Valley area. Most were restored by 8 p.m. William Pitts was in that storm earlier tonight. And it did cause some damage.
Yeah, there were reports of some earlier damage, some trees down, some road flooding, things like that. Nothing too major, though, but nothing like the other 2 previous storms that we had where some people still haven't even cleaned up. Washes repaired, roads cleared, some damage fixed, but the storms are on their way. Along Dobbins Road in South Phoenix, people laid out sandbags, blocking their doors, garages, hoping to head off another round of flooding.
Everybody's happy about rain. We're going to get rain because we need rain, and we're all just like, please no.
Banu Silbahar says insurance didn't cover any of her damage last time. The repairs aren't even done yet.
Every single inch touching the floor in the whole house, anything, the walls, the furniture, everything was soaked. So it came about 6 inches in one part of my house.
For a while, it seemed like the storm would be a problem. A huge wall of dust swept through the valley, bringing visibility down to a few hundred yards. But the huge storms just outside the valley fell apart. A few small cells dumped rain and moved on. There were a few reports of minor damage, but nothing big. But more storms could be on the way. Now, one thing we've seen with these storms that have thankfully gone away is a lot of lightning. We've seen it popping to the north, to the south, pretty much all over the place. Most of the rain that we saw today seems to have bypassed us to the south and gone between Florence and Sackatoon. Live in Gilbert, William Pitts, 12 News.
Yes, and this is a day in the history books. We want to talk to Ken Waters. He's with the National Weather Service, working hard this morning. I am very excited to talk to you this morning, Ken. Can you put this day in perspective? All this rain in such a relatively short period of time. How does this compare to the entire history of what we've been dealing with during the monsoon season?
Right. Well, you said it all. One word record, and this is a record to break all records, because this isn't the wettest single day for this calendar day. This is the wettest day of all time since we've ever taken records, 1895. Just checked the rain gauge at Sky Harbor Airport, and we're up to 3.06 inches, and that's just since midnight. And the old record, 2.91. So we're in new territory here.
This is new territory. Now, for folks that haven't headed off to work, they haven't gone to school, what is your advice to stay indoors at all costs? What would you say to people who are just waking up and still making their decisions?
Yeah, it's really going to be bad out there for the next couple of hours. The good news, if there is some good news here, is that things should be settling down in about 2 hours. So we're looking at maybe 9 o'clock, 9:30ish. After the main commute, we're anticipating that the rain amounts are going to be lessening, at least for the near term. So right now, it's we're getting reports of floods just everywhere and a lot of road closures.
Well, and it's interesting because this is somewhat uncharted territory to see so much rain in such a short period of time. You have the completely saturated ground. How do you take that into account when you're looking at flash flooding? Because even if you don't see as much rain in the afternoon, it could cause a lot of problems because of the rain that we already had.
Oh, absolutely. You get all kinds of effects. Obviously, anytime you start having the drainage covered up, then you're going to get even more ponding, and we're just seeing that all over. It's just too much water in too short a period of time for the infrastructure to be able to take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been talking about the monsoon. Yes, we've been tapping into that typical monsoon pattern. Can you tell us what was Hurricane Norbert, how that really gave us the 1-2 punch as far as all of this moisture goes out there for this morning?
Yeah, it's just kind of a perfect storm in that regard. This time of year, this is the time when we could potentially get these type of systems, and this one was just in the right location, a lot of moisture, and just kind of funneled up over Arizona and actually over Southern California as well. And it's just, it happens once in a while. Unfortunately, just so much of it happened this morning.
And finally, Ken, I feel like your alarm system with the dust storm warnings that came through on the phones, I'm sure a lot of folks woke up in the middle of the night and they heard the flash flood warnings that beeped through. Do you guys feel pretty satisfied with who that went out to, if it was their direct area in which the flash flood was taking place? And do you think people are listening now to those alarms that are sounding off on their phones?
We hope they are. The system got off to kind of a tough start a couple years ago, but there have been a lot of improvements. And, this is all about saving lives. If it may be inconvenient to be woken up by something like this, but in this case, this really can be saving of lives. So it's we're very happy with that program.
Yeah, thanks for all the work you do. I know the National Weather Service, you guys have been working around the clock as you do every day. We appreciate your time and your insight. Thank you, Ken. And for now, we'll toss it back to Pat and Nicole.
Story this morning, just when you thought maybe the monsoon is over. Tropical storms Dolly and Norbert show up, and the valley gets completely soaked. Last night, from Surprise to Flagstaff to right here in downtown Phoenix, anything that was dry got wet.
And right now, you're probably not seeing any rain outside now, but get ready because Mother Nature churning up another storm for this weekend. Here's Jimmy.
What's going on?
You got to clarify, those were not the remnants of Dolly or Norbert.
Oh.
Yet.
Well, we just wanted to mention them.
No, it is. They're coming
They're
in.
on the way.
They're on their way.
Because you know,
wait till you see the remnants.
When it gets here.
Oh, don't tell me that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
You're going to be saying hello, Dolly.
Yeah.
The most important thing to me is when it's going to hit. Because, yeah, I want to get out and do stuff this weekend.
Everyone's asking that question.
Yeah.
It's going to be hit or miss Saturday, and it's going to be hit Sunday. Scattered storms. So right now, we have our monsoon meter at about a 3 here in the valley. I've been, playing with this number all morning long. We're going to go with the 3. 4 for southeast Arizona, so those storms could make their way back up here. And then a little less activity expected in the high country for today. Now, storm activity, if you're just waking up and you're heading somewhere in the state or you're driving out, I'm sure a lot of people heading out for the weekend, maybe to a cooler spot, you're okay.